皆さんこんにちは。元気ゆうきです。はい、本日なんですが、海外でイベントがありました。4月の28日ですが、クリプトバハマカンファレンスというイベントです。そのイベントには、リップルの社長やリップルが参加していたんですね。そこで海外のメディアの、女性で個人投資家でもある、アンナというね方がインタビューをしました、リップルの社長にね、その時に、話した内容についてあなたにご紹介したいと思います。今回のね話を聞くことによってリップルに対しての知識が深まるし、社長がどのように考えているのかということが、少しわかると思います。その動画はですね、英語なので私英語ができません。文字起こしと翻訳を使って字幕を貼りました。その動画を見てもらった後は、私の視聴者の中では音声で聞いている方がいるということを私は分かっているので、他にね、なんか分かりやすいそのインタビューについての内容が分かるものはないかと探したところ、海外で、ポッドキャスターとしてとても人気がある、女性の、そのインタビューについての中心になるテーマ、内容について、コメントしたものを翻訳してそちらも同時にご紹介することによって分かりやすくなっていると思いますので、リップル社長がどのように今現在ねリップルについて考えているのか、栽培についても分かります。それと面白い話も含まれているので、きっとねこの動画はあなたにとって、価値があるんじゃないかと思って作りました。はい、それでは最後まで聞いてください。
Hello guys, so we are now in Bahamas at Crypto Bahamas conference organized by FTX and Salt, and we are here with Brad Garlandhouse, CEO of Ripple, global payment solution.
Hi, everyone.
Nice to meet you here, Brad.
Very good to be here. Lots going on. Bahamas is alive and well with crypto.
Yeah, so can you tell us about your journey? How did you get into crypto? How did you discover it first?
I was first introduced to Bitcoin in around 2012, 2013, and first bought some Bitcoin in 2012, 2013. I was always excited about the promise of what the digitization and the programmability of money could represent. I was always a little bit nervous in the early days about if all of the crypto ecosystem was trying to compete with governments or circumvent governments or compete with banks and circumvent banks. I always thought that was not necessarily the path to having the optimal outcome. And when I first heard about Ripple, Ripple was taking an approach of, hey, how do we bridge between the crypto world and the traditional world? And really what we've spent the last, I've been at the company 7 years, what we spent that time doing is to some degree building those bridges, and I almost think about it as interoperability between the legacy infrastructure and a much more modern, much faster next generation set of technologies ranging from Bitcoin to XRP. I believe very much in a multi-chain world. As you probably heard me say, I think tribalism is holding the industry back in some regards. But I think there's going to be a lot of winners, and I'm excited for the next 5-10 years to play out.
So do you have any favorite chains?
Oh, XRP. The XRP ledger is my favorite chain.
It's obvious. Any others?
No, I mean, I have invested in this space, and frankly, Ripple. I mean, as a company, we've invested well over $500 million, maybe approaching $1 billion, in other crypto projects. The majority of those are XRP related, but there's a bunch that are not XRP directly related to XRP. And I truly believe that in the crypto ecosystem, all boats can rise. And if Ripple is doing anything that's good for crypto, then it's good for Ripple. And so even what we see happening in regulatory venues, the United States and outside the United States, the more I think we can work together, the better off we're going to be. And I for years have been advocating, like, look, I see people throwing stones, and I just think we could all, one player doesn't have to fail for another player to succeed, and it's going to be a very big market. It's going to continue to grow. If it's $2 trillion today, I'm very optimistic it'll be 20 trillion in not that many years.
And is Ripple your first crypto venture, or did you work with any other crypto companies before?
No, Ripple is my first crypto, kind of pure crypto play. I guess I had a little bit of touch with Filecoin prior to joining Ripple, but was not personally involved as a small investor.
And And now we still see the lawsuit of CSE against Ripple, and you made some comment that it's going quite well. Can you tell more about this, about the progress?
Well, look, I think no one is excited to have a lawsuit brought upon you by a government agency. But I think as time has gone by, people have realized that what we have been saying for a long time, that the laws in the United States have not been clear. And to use a 1946 Supreme Court case that we call the Howey test to try to provide clarity about whether or not crypto assets are securities, I think really stretches the Howey test beyond recognition. It's my firm belief that we Ripple are really working to help support the entire crypto industry with this lawsuit with the United States SEC. The good news is outside the United States, you see much more friendly regulatory engagement. And I often, as you probably have heard me say, I encourage entrepreneurs who are starting crypto and blockchain companies today to look outside the United States to start as opposed to starting in the US.
So how do you see crypto regulations worldwide? In US, here, as well, we recently were in France.
Yes, you and I saw each other at the Paris Blockchain Week, and look, I think you're seeing countries like Switzerland and the UK and the United Arab Emirates, Singapore, Japan. You know, they all have provided certainty and clarity, and it's not even critical exactly what that looks like. What it's critical is that the investors and entrepreneurs know what the rules of the road are. There are, I mean, the vast majority of people building capabilities and participating in the crypto markets are good actors, and they want to follow the rules and the laws. But when they're not clear, you know, and as is the case here in the United States, you know, Ripple and I personally went in 3 or 4, maybe 4 or 5 times to the SEC, met with commissioners, met with the chairman, met with staff, and for years was very transparent about what we're doing. For them years later to come back and say, we think XRP is a security, you should have known that the whole time, feels a little preposterous.
And how do you see development here in Bahamas? What are your plans for the development?
Well, I just arrived in the Bahamas, and you know this event hosted by FTX I think has been outstanding. The participation was very busy, very active, and I also really like the fact that it's very multi-chain, a lot of exciting stuff going on across different technology platforms. So I feel like it's been really good. I don't know personally what's going on that much in development based here in the Bahamas. Obviously, I think FTX is based here, but I'm not as close to what other projects are going on here in the Bahamas.
So do you plan to partner with some banks here so that they start using Ripple?
Well, we had an existing customer come by our table earlier today. It's really enjoying working with us and just complimenting how simple the technology is, how quickly they've been able to ramp, and how it's helped them scale their business more quickly. So it's always good to hear from happy customers.
Yeah. And as well, some countries plan to launch their central bank digital currencies. China already has a successful launch of digital yuan. So how do you see the existence of both cryptocurrency and central bank digital currencies?
Well, typically, I mean, the way Ripple looks at this is Ripple's really trying to solve that cross-border payments problem. You know, central bank digital currencies are domestic by nature. They're issued by a central bank or potentially issued by a central bank. So they're not really solving cross-border problems, they're solving domestic solutions more often than not. So look, I think that what we're seeing happen with stablecoins, we're seeing happen with central bank issued digital assets, I think is exciting. I'm not exactly clear how it's all going to play out. You're seeing countries experiment and test. Ripple has partnered with several central banks around the world. Some we've announced, some we haven't yet announced, that they're issuing and testing using the XRP ledger to issue their digital assets on the XRP ledger as a token. So we're excited to be working with them. And look, at our core, Ripple's really good at working with enterprise customers. A government is just a big enterprise customer. You know, we know how to sell to.
That's an interesting notion.
I mean, in some ways, it's just a really big enterprise customer, and we're pretty good at that now because we've had a lot of experience with it and worked with some of the largest banks in the world, as well as a lot of the smaller payment companies that have grown very quickly using our technology. It's helped them grow more quickly.
And what are your thoughts on stable coins?
I put stablecoins in the same category. I mean, look, here in the U.S., stablecoins face some of the same problems that the crypto industry at large faces, where you have a very aggressive Securities and Exchange Commission making statements about are those securities, and I think you're seeing uncertainty around how that will play out. But look, I think, as I've said, it's a multi-chain world. I think there will not be one solution to rule them all, and I think there'll be solutions that cooperate with each other and integrate with each other in ways that help both projects.
And in your opinion, what is needed for the mass adoption of crypto?
Well, look, I mean, it's an interesting question, because I'd start by saying I think over 50 million people in the United States are already have crypto exposure one way or another, and so that's kind of mass adoption. That's a lot of people. Now, do I think that is? I think a lot more people will be participating in the crypto markets in 5 more years. So I think things like NFTs have opened up exposure to new customer segments. I also think a lot of this will be in non-G20 markets, where you don't have strong currencies like the dollar or euro or yen or pound. And if you are, I'll pick on the Zimbabwe dollar. This is a currency that the central government has kind of lost control of a couple of times in history, and I think you may see that digital assets enter consumer use cases more prevalently or more actively in markets where you don't have strong domestic currency.
And what are your thoughts about DeFi, and does Ripple do something in that space?
I was asked on stage in Puerto Rico about DeFi, and I think my response was confused. I would maybe expand that to just say I'm excited and confused. There's no doubt in my mind that decentralized finance applications, there's some very compelling ones. To some degree, DeFi means different things to different people. The only thing I would caution against, sometimes people talk about DeFi in a way that there are some certain foundational regulatory frameworks that matter globally. And it doesn't matter for the United States or in Europe and Asia. Government regulators care about something called KYC, know your customer. And when you talk about true DeFi and you have anonymous transactions and decentralized autonomous organizations that don't have KYC-able owners, if you will, or principals, I think it makes it very hard for those entities to integrate and partner and participate in the traditionally defined financial system. So I think it's to be determined how that all plays out.
But now we see as well big DeFi players launching somehow DeFi for institutionals with this KYC and whitelist.
We shall see how it plays out.
Yeah, and can you share something about your portfolio? What other coins except Ripple, XRP do you have?
I keep that to myself mostly. I mean, I am involved in kind of index of various other leading cryptos, but I don't do, even in the stock market, I don't do a lot of individual stock picks for the same reason. But,
so do you still invest into stocks, or are you all into crypto?
I would say about 90% of my personal net worth is in crypto.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
And can you share some plans for the development of Ripple? Any
Sure.
exciting partnerships?
Sure. Maybe if you don't mind, last question, I'll touch on this and then we'll wrap up. But look, I think for Ripple, one of the things I have talked about a little bit publicly is that I was exposed, very fortunately, to Amazon in the very earliest days. I met Jeff Bezos in 1996. And at the time it was called Amazon Books, and Amazon was a bookseller, and they competed just with books. In some ways, I think about what Amazon was to books as Ripple is to cross-border payments. Blockchain technologies can solve and reduce friction of transactions in lots of industries and lots of use cases. Ripple started with cross-border transactions because we felt like the correspondent bank could be disintermediated and improve speed, improve cost, and reduce errors. But there's a lot of other examples like that, and we certainly think there's other vertical industries we'll go after. We've talked a little bit publicly about some things we're doing with the carbon credit marketplaces as one example, but there's some other things that we'll continue to work on to go beyond just books.
Okay, great. We'll follow more updates from Ripple and from you. Thank you for such interesting conversation.
Thank you for having me.
はい、今ね、バハマであった、リップルの社長への、ね、インタビューを、皆さん見てね、 なんとなくしかわからなかったり、要点が何なのかね、分かりづらかったりすると思うんですけど、英語ができないっていうのはね、ちょっと辛いですね。はい。そこで、もう一つね、ポッドキャスター、人気あるね、投資家です、女性の、リンダというね、方ですが、ちょっと紹介しましょう。リンダは39歳で200万ドルを稼ぎ、実用的な知識を共有し、株式市場、不動産ビジネスで富を生み出します。セキュリティ安全性及び金融の自由への直接の筋道を示す裕福な指導者を紹介します。このポッドキャストは人生を楽しむ方法についてバランスの取れた見解を持っています。というふうに続くんですが、そういったね、リンダさんという方が、今回のリップルの社長が話した内容の中心的テーマ、内容について、それを私が翻訳しました。両方翻訳なんだけどね、だけどこっちの方が分かりやすいと思うんでちょっと読み上げますね。はい、ではね、リンダの言葉でね、読み上げますね。書いてある通り、リンダがまず言う話です。ブラッドを聞くのが大好きです。なぜなら彼の言うことには常に金塊が含まれているからです。私はクリプトバハマカンファレンスでのインタビューのハイライトを書いています。はい、じゃあ読んできますね。彼を大まかに引用します。直接引用符は引用符を使用します。最初に彼の暗号への初期の関心は銀行や政府と競争したり回避したりするのではなく、暗号の世界と伝統的な世界の間をどのように橋渡しするのかを答えることでした。それは総合運用性に関するものであり、将来のマルチチェーンの世界でレガシーインフラストラクチャーの間の国境を越えた支払いを提供します。ステーブルコインと CBDC について尋ねられた彼は、CBDC は中央銀行 CB によって発行され、または彼らは国内の解決を解決していると言ってます。リップルは世界のいくつかの CB と提携しており、まだ発表してないものもあります。皆さん、まだ発表してないものもあるんだってよ。彼らは Xrpl で資産を使用して発行することをテストしています。規制当局はステーブルコインを検討しています。それらすべてを支配するための一つの解決策はありません。それらすべてを支配するための一つの解決策はありませんがあります。互いに協力し合うソリューション、互いに統合します。暗号通貨はドルのような強い通貨がない非 G20 市場にあります。ユーロ、円、ポンド。デジタル資産は強い国内通貨を持っていない場合により一般的に消費者のユースケースに入るのを見るかもしれません。ここでリンダの意見として、つまりそれは消費者にはステラを使用し、CB と政府には XRP を使用しますかって質問してますね。ブラッドはリップルを Amazon と比較しました。Amazon が本に対してしたことはリップルが国境を越えた支払いに対してであるようです。Amazon が他のものに拡大するにつれてリップルも拡大します。一例はカーボンクレジット市場であり、私たちが取り組む他のことがあります。彼の投資について尋ねられたとき、ブラッドは、実直に言った。彼の個人的な純資産の 90% は暗号通貨にあります。なるほどね。ありがとうブラッド。私たちはあなたが言わなければならないことを聞くのが好きで、リップルと XRP のあなたのスチュワードシップに感謝しています。終わりっていうね、ことです。はい、皆さん面白い話がね、3つあったね。一つは、私は、運が良かったと。Amazon を見てきたと。初期の Amazon が本の通販をやってたんですね。それを見ていたと。だからリップルはそれと同じように拡大していくよって言ってます。はい。それともう一つは、リップルの社長はなんと資産の 90% は暗号で持ってるって言ってるんです。皆さん。っていうことからですよ。リップルの社長は XRP を持ってるんでしょうか持ってないんでしょうかって考えればですよ。持ってるよねっていうことは分かりますよね。それが 90% 全部リップルじゃないとしても。その中の何十%はリップルじゃないのっていうことは予想つきます。っていうことから、XRP がどうなるのかっていうことは想像できます。本当に。そうでしょ？自分が持っているんだから、資産として。 持ってないわけないでしょ、まさか。ね。はい。それと、最後にもう一個、重大なニュースがありましたね。実はね、皆さんにまだ発表していない中央銀行との提携があるって言ってるんです、皆さん。中央銀行？何かわかんないけど。ね、まだ発表してない。実はネタがあるんだって言ってるんですよ、皆さん。興味深いね、これは。はい。ということでね、皆さん今回は、バハマで行われた、リップルのね、インタビューの内容について、お話ししましたけど、面白かったですかね。ゴールデンウィークにふさわしい内容だな、これは。と思いました。はい。ということで、あなたが気に入ったらね、チャンネル登録して、お願いがあります。拡散してください。よければ。はい。ということで、ありがとうございました。じゃあね。